And we are live, everybody. MLB Strategy Show. Welcome to October, Wednesday, October 1st. Man, where the hell did this year go? How are there 3 months left? I remember having a real shitty New Year's Eve dinner 9 months ago at this time. Anyway, I'm Josh Engelman. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engelman. 4 games on the baseball streets for today. Let's go ahead and pull up what we got out of yesterday. So, what's this? We're going to update FanGraphs scoreboard soon. If you want to try a beta preview for the FanGraphs scoreboard, click activate beta. Yes. Well, I really do hope this is a beta because this looks like shit. This looks like they hired somebody to ask ChatGPT how to do it. Anyway, let's look at yesterday. So, started it off. Tigers picked up the dub. Scooble was bonkers in this one, just so we don't miss it. 7 2/3 innings, faced 28 batters, 3 walks, 3 hits, 1 earned, 14 Ks. Now, Gavin Williams, real good. 6 innings for Gavin Williams, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk, 5 hits allowed. Same base runners as Scooble, less innings, obviously less Ks, but significantly less salary as well. 6-2 Cubbies against the Pods. That was the weirdest game to me of all of them. I don't know why I just said 6-4. 3-1 Cubs, by the way. I don't know. I'm reading off fucking hits and stuff. Boyd wasn't very good, unsurprising. Pivetta was great, minus the taters. Yankees Red Sox was, I don't know, I guess like what we expected. Tight game for most of it. And I turned it on, and all of a sudden the Red Sox were winning. Crochet, lethal. Fried did what he needed to do, 7 base runners. And then, unsurprisingly, the Dodgers game went like we would expect. 2 dongs from Ohtani, 2 dongs from Teoscar Hernandez, and another one from Tommy Edman. Snell was great. Hunter Green, quite a bit less so. Hard to say that one went in a direction we didn't expect. So now we get to it today. I got the top pitchers tool pulled up. We'll touch on everything that we think we can see from a top pitcher's perspective. We'll take a look at stacks. We'll build lineups. We'll look at sims. It's a great day. It's a great day. We get Yankees Red Sox baseball in an era where these games don't take 9 hours to finish. Just so much. Look, Yankees Red Sox games in the early and mid 2000s were appointment viewing. It was as good as we were getting in American sports at the time. But holy shit, were those games long. The fact that they've been able to trim that has really improved the baseball product to me. Oh boy. If you're interested in the top pitchers and top stacks for today, please go check out Tails at OddsShopper.com because I posted the top pitchers and top stacks today. So top stacks is out. Top pitchers is out. Put those out yesterday as well. Just go to OddsShopper.com. Go to the Tails Expert Picks page. You can click on my name and follow me right here. I'm going to be posting so much NBA stuff there once the NBA season starts. If you're interested in that, if you're looking for my NBA content, it is going to all be on Tails, completely free. There's no paid subscription for me personally. You could subscribe to other people if you're looking to, get more on the sports betting and pick'em side. You could subscribe to Mitch, aka DFS and Donuts, our boy DK DFS, has a package you could subscribe to. He crushes NBA preseason. He gets really involved in that. So if that's something you're interested in, you should check out what DK has. And you'll probably see him on some NBA shows with me throughout the year. He and I did a bunch last year together. No reason that can't start again. Plenty of more people, obviously, like Greg and Eric, Ben, Lofty. They're all on here as well if you're on the hunt for that kind of stuff. I'm getting 9 million messages right now, so let me just make sure that those aren't actually relevant to me. They are not. So, we ready to break this bad boy down, folks? Because we're starting at the top, and it is kind of similar to what we had yesterday. $9,500 Yoshinobu Yamamoto is at the top of the top pitchers tool. 43% top two pitcher odds. It's 10% ahead of anybody else on this slate. He is also 57% owned. Does that stand out to you guys? Because it does to me. We then have Carlos Rodon, $200 cheaper than Yamamoto. 34% top two odds. 33% owned. So right in line with his top two odds. Dylan Cease, $1,000 cheaper than Rodon. Same top two odds, slightly more owned. And then you get this combo of 7K guys in Tanner Bibee and Shota Imanaga. Both basically like 27% top two odds. However, Tanner Bibee, 33% owned. Shota Imanaga, 18. So same top two pitcher odds, half the ownership. I think we're starting there. Brendan, we're going to get there because I want to talk through it. Let's start with our boy Tanner Bibee. On the season, 21.5% K rate to lefties, 21% K rate to righties. Gives up exactly the same power, 165 and 164 X ISOs, essentially the same X WOBA. It kind of doesn't matter all that much what he faces. It's sort of the same results no matter what. Now, if we go and look at the Tigers against righties this season, man, I really like. I don't know how you guys feel. There's been a decent chunk of you guys that have been here with me for the past month or so. I kind of wish baseball was like starting, and well, I mean, like I'm gonna get this for the NBA, which is what I actually want. But I'm really enjoying breaking down baseball each day. Like I think we found a really good rhythm with this show. I hope you guys feel the same way, but I feel like we really dig in pretty well here. WRC plus for the Tigers against righties, 19th. Strikeout rate for the Tigers against righties, 5th. 171 ISO is 12th. So that leads us to the next spot that we have to look at. We're going to the betting markets. We want to take a look at the props. Tanner Bibee, under 5.5 Ks, minus 128. So a little bit of juice to the under, but still coming in a little bit north of 5. Good start. If we take a look at his outs prop, 14.5, juice to the over. Generally in these scenarios, if it's not a full bullpen game, you're expecting 5 innings, or at least hoping for it, especially in these series. That could change a little bit later. So, you know, he looks totally fine. I don't have a negative to say about him, but we got to talk about Imanaga. And one thing that I think you guys will notice right out of the gate, strikeout prop for Imanaga, not posted. Outs prop for Shota Imanaga, not posted. Well, that's not how you spell it, but close enough. So, first, let's take a look at Northside Baseball, which is some sort of Cubs blog. Can I put that into reader mode? Well, that looks like shit, but we'll take it. So Kittredge Open, Imanaga Bulk, that will, from what they're saying here, Kittredge opens against what is likely Tatis, Arraez, Machado. And then we get Shota Imanaga coming in as the long man. So if we go and look at this spot, Imanaga, 23% K rate against lefties, 20 against righties, and righties blast off on this dude. 1,600 pitches thrown to righties this season. 265 X ISO. Sorry, I got to move my camera a little bit. Oh, that's so much better. 265 X ISO. 335 X WOBA is not horrific, but it's not even an X ISO thing for Imanaga. It's a regular ISO thing. Whether it's lefties or righties, they're just, or whether it's regular ISO or X ISO against righties, they're just hitting the shit out of them. In particular, I'm sitting up for this one because it's important. He has thrown 791 fastballs to righties and has allowed a 381 ISO and a 389 X ISO. For reference, if you're looking for a comparison point, Aaron Judge has a 357 ISO on the whole year. When righties face Shota Imanaga and he throws them a fastball, as a collective, they're hitting 30 ISO points higher than Aaron Judge did for the entire season. So that leads us back to the San Diego Padres against lefties. Active roster versus lefties. San Diego Padres 13th in WRC plus. Remember, we just had this conversation. Second lowest strikeout rate. Sixth lowest ISO. And for all intents and purposes, tied for the third lowest ISO. So as we circle back to the top pitchers tool, I don't think that Shota Imanaga has the same top two pitcher odds in my mind as Tanner Bibee. One, I don't see him going, like, his expectation in outs can't be the same. He's worse from a performance metric. Yes, I agree that the ownership helps. But if we're talking about what he's going to see today, like, sure, he's not going to get Tatis, very helpful. He's not going to get Machado in that first run, very helpful. In an optimal scenario, he starts it off with Jackson Merrill. Bogarts can hit him. We might see a bunch of lefties. The question will be, can Imanaga get through Tatis and Machado in like the third? That first time he sees them, but the second time they're coming through. That's the question. Because the Padres don't really have, well, I mean, the guys they do have are world beater type righties, but there's not a lot of them. I'm interested in the ownership because he's 18% owned, but I don't think he's under-owned the way that we're showing right now. I think there's a lot of volatility here. And I saw somebody say it earlier. I want to scroll back and see who it was. Austin said, Casey Mize grades out way better to me than where everybody in the books have him. Just strange to me, and I don't know what to make of it. he's very good versus lefties. So Mize is sitting there at $300 cheaper than Imanaga, 10% less top 2 odds, less ownership, same implied total. So if we go to look at Casey Mize, 23% K rate to lefties, 21 to righties, a better power profile than Imanaga has against righties. The lefty side of that one is totally fine. If we want to talk about Cleveland against righties, 26th in WRC plus, non-issue strikeout rate, middle of the pack ISO. If we look at Mize's props, 4.5 strikeouts juice to the under is not what we're looking for. 13.5 outs juice to the over. Honestly, like, not, you would like that to be an out higher, but it's not horrific. 1.5 total earned runs. I'll be honest, as I see it, I absolutely would prefer to have Casey Mize over Shota Imanaga. And I think because of ownership, I would prefer Casey Mize to the man he faces today in Tanner Bibee. And then you've got Brian Bayo here in New York, 6% owned, pretty tough sell. Zach Littell at 6,500 in LA, essentially unowned. Another really tough sell for me. Brad, yes, you can. So then it just comes down to Carlos Rodon and Dylan Cease. I don't think there's anything I really need to add here for Yamamoto. We know that he's exceptional. We know that the Dodgers are significantly better than Cincy. We know how it projects. It's exactly... Yoshinobu Yamamoto is in this basically the same spot as Skubal yesterday, or at least close to it, in that I get it. But splitting the difference between Carlos Rodon and Dylan Cease to me is an interesting one, given the fact that they look almost identical. So Cease, 28% K rate to lefties this year, 31 to righties. Lefties hit him for more power. Everybody's just swinging and missing. But if you're going to get to him, it's going to be via lefty bats. Now, if we take a look at guys against righties here, and we want to dig in a little bit more on Dylan Cease, Cubs, 112 WRC plus against righties, good enough for 7th. 182 ISO, good enough for 6th. Strikeout rate, 23rd, so they don't K that much. So, good lineup, good power, not a ton of Ks. If we look at his prop market, and we'll just compare them now while we're here. Cease, over 5.5 Ks, heavy juice to the over. Carlos Rodon, over 5.5 Ks, heavy juice to the over. If we look at their outs, Cease, 14.5 juice to the under. Carlos Rodon, 15.5 juice to the under. And then finally for their earned run props, Cease at 1.5, basically no juice. Carlos Rodon at 1.5, basically no juice, slight lean towards Cease. But Rodon is doing the opposite stuff today. Against lefties, now we've already looked at this once, but if we look at Carlos Rodon, 29% K rate to lefties, 25 to righties, no power allowed, no real holes in Rodon's game. Boston, 17th in WRC plus against lefties, 12th in ISO, slightly more strikeouts at 23%. That's 11th, but like just average across the board. I prefer Carlos Rodon to Dylan Cease. I'd rather spend the extra 1,000, save a couple points of ownership, and take a guy that I just think is in a better spot than Cease is. I'd rather have Rodon's matchup than Cease. The only difference here is that I'd rather have Chicago's park instead of the Yankees. So the next thing that we need to do is just take a look at our sim results. And the first thing that I want to do is just like cut out some of the heavy chalk for a day like today. So I'm going to take 20% of these lineups out of the pool. And they're going to be the ones that cash the most, which in theory is going to be like likely more chalky lineups. So we're going to set that cutoff at 26% cash rate. And then I'm going to sort by simulated ROI. We're going to unfavorite, take the top 150. What kind of spread do we get there? We get Yamamoto right at the field. We do get a little bit of a stand on Dylan Cease, a massive stand on Shota Imanaga, neutral Tanner Bibee, neutral-ish, but a little light on Carlos Rodon. Not the results that I'm truly looking for. So what I'm going to actually do is walk this back. I'm going to remove that cash score. And I'm going to do the same thing that I just did, but I'm going to do it for total ownership instead. I want to see if that gives me a slightly different structure. So that is going to be under 225 in ownership sum. I just want to get away from the field just a little bit more on a day like today. All right. Top 150 lineups. Took some of the chalk out of here. Ends up being 75% Yamamoto. Big stand. Little bit over on Cease. Neutral Tanner Bibee. Under Rodon. Neutral Imanaga. Light on Mize. So everything that we just said about pitchers, I want to try to enact right here. I'm going to take 10% off of Cease. Give 5% to Bibee. Give 10% to Carlos Rodon, take 5 off of Imanaga, and bump Casey Mize 10. That's going to wiggle a lot of this stuff around. But this should be a slightly better spread of pitching exposures than what we had before. It jumps Carlos Rodon up considerably, probably more than I needed. Brought Yamamoto down considerably, probably more than I needed. So I'm going to bring Rodon down by 5 and bump Yamamoto by 5. And this is what I would do if I were putting these lineups in. This is how I would dial in my exposures, make sure I'm not too extreme anywhere. Yeah, like even still, I might be able to take 5 more off of Carlos Rodon again. Just by bumping up the value, it made Rodon look more interesting. All right, big stand Rodon, big stand Tanner Bibee. Still too much Imanaga. So let's take Imanaga down. Fine with Tanner Bibee. We'll take Yamamoto up another 5. We'll take Mize up another 5. And I think we're going to be about where we want to be. And once we are, I want to see what the stacks look like. Einsteinium, yeah, sometimes. Yamamoto up to neutral, still the stand on Bibee, over on Rodon. Still too much Imanaga relative to Mize. That's the only one. We're basically there. But I definitely like Mize more than I like Imanaga today. That was a good shout. Rocco, yes it is. All right, that's a little bit better. Neutral Mize, neutral Imanaga. So now after all those changes, we look at the stack exposure. I'll let you guys process this first while I take a sip of coffee. But look at that top stack team. Our most exposed stack after massaging those exposures is the Cincinnati Reds against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The other stand, it's pretty big on the Cubs and the Cleveland Guardians. 38% Cincy, 33% Chicago, 27% Cleveland, and then it falls off a cliff. Now, here is the top stacks tool for today. Number one top stack, not even remotely close, your Los Angeles Dodgers. We all know why. Highest run total by almost a full run, 26% top stack odds, 26% ownership, 24 stack score, double the next closest team. I don't have anything to add here. Obviously, the Dodgers look great. Obviously, it's the best spot. I'm not telling anybody anything they don't already know. What I think we probably want to talk about is the team that showed up the most. And that would be the 10% top stack Cincinnati Reds. But let's be very clear about what we have on the screen right now, because I think people are going to miss it. Dodgers are the top stack at 26%. Not confusing. Yankees are second. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised there, but 10% less. Yankees are at 15.5. There is no difference between the next 5 teams. And if you wanted to include the Cubs and make it 6, I'd be okay with it. But these percentages are the same. Keep in mind, from a team total perspective, 3.5, 3.4, 3.4, 3.6, 3.4. They're all the same. 10.2, 10.0, 9.8, 9.7, 9.7. Those 5 teams are separated by 0.5%. That's not separated. We would round, in theory, we should round all of those, and that should be 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And like even the values aren't that separated. But the Cincinnati Reds are owned 6%. Everybody else is at least 10. Now we know why that's happening. Spot sucks. Yamamoto's really good. But these guys are under-owned for today. And they're in a ballpark that is helpful. Now, do I need 40% of the lowest owned team on today's slate? Hell no. Of course not. That would be insane. But the thing that stands out to me most in our top pitchers tool, and then subsequently in a Sims run that I haven't manipulated on the stack side, these guys are a sneak team for a 4-game slate and a team you want to pay attention to. So, as we circle back to the Sims, I would never play this because it's wildly unnecessary. To have 38% of this team would ruin me. It couldn't be more useless to have that much today, in my opinion. I don't need 36% of Ellie or 33% of TJ Friedel. Like, that's massive. That's unnecessary. So, let's make some tweaks. Let's knock Cincinnati down 10, Cleveland down 10, and San Diego down 5. My expectation here is we have a lot more of the Dodgers. Stack exposure now with those tweaks. Big Cub stand, big Cincy stand. Certainly brought down San Diego quite a bit, but we're still at 40% Cubs, 22% Cincy, 16% Cleveland. I definitely don't need to take 5 away from San Diego. I do need to take 5 away from the Chicago Cubs, and probably 10. Now we're starting to flatten out a bit. 27 to Cincy can still come down one more notch. This will probably make San Diego be a little bit heavier than I'd like them to be. Cincy, Chicago, Cleveland, San Diego. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. Is this still too much Cincinnati? Yeah, probably. However, we just go look at that team exposure now. Ellie to 25. TJ Friedel to 20. And 15 and 15 and 13. These are 2x stands. They're on Ellie, a 3x stand, Friedel, a 4x stand, but those are the guys you want to take the stand on. That's a much better setup. From a pitching standpoint, let's clear that Cincy filter. Yamamoto there, Bibee there. Like, this hasn't moved too much other than slightly more Rodon than Cease. But right now, I think we've got pretty good exposures. The most exposed guy that we have right now that isn't a pitcher is Shohei Ohtani. Still slightly under the field. It's 47% owned. We got 37. Love it. Jose Ramirez, big stand. Ellie De La Cruz, big stand. Nico Herner, big stand. PCA, TJ Friedel, Jackson Merrill. We're 2Xing Kyle Tucker. We're neutral still on Judge. I can't say that I'm mad about that. What I can say is we need to start building some single lineups, and this is where it's going to get squirrely. Let's build our first lineup. I want to try it on the Cincinnati Reds. I don't know how well this is going to go. I don't know what this is going to feel like, but let's check it out. All right, so our boy TJ Friedel is going straight in. Ellie goes in. Stevenson goes in. I'm going to go Marte and Steer. We need 2 pitchers, second baseman, third baseman, outfielder. So we take the optimal here. $100 left on the table. Cease Imanaga. 3-man Dodger stack of Edman, Muncy, Ohtani. Right out of the gate, I'm going to make a change to this because I don't want Imanaga there. I'm going to take Casey Mize. Actually, based on this ownership, I'm actually going to take Tanner Bibee and then clear those Dodgers out and have it redo it. Actually, I'm going to take out Cease and those additional plays and just see if changes. Stop giving me Imanaga. I don't want him. All right, back to Cease. We complete with Chisholm, Kike, Ohtani, 700 on the table. Let's see it. Okay. 23% sim ROI on Cincy to start it off. Not a problem with that one at all. I'm gonna choose my pitchers now. So if we're going to Cincinnati, I got to be honest, it's not like I want to bring Zach Littell along for the ride here. If I just go Casey Mize and Tanner Bibee, that leaves us 5,100 for each remaining spot. Edman, Muncy, Ohtani, $1,000 on the table. Basically the same sim ROI at 23.8%. So let's see if we have to go about it from a different direction. Given the fact that we have such low ownership, I'm going to go Bibee. I can't go Yamamoto for this game, so I'm going to go to Carlos Rodon. Leaves us 4,400 for each of those spots. Ends up being Edman, Kike, Ohtani, 900 on the table. And I think I can make this better by just taking Ohtani out. Yeah, see, that's like a full Dodgers Reds stack. I don't want Ohtani. Maybe I do. Holy shit, he's 2.5 fantasy points ahead of Aaron Judge. Yeesh. If I put in just Judge, it gives us Rocchio and Muncy. I don't think that's going to be a benefit to us. Well, one thing we've learned, we know how to build a lineup in the 25 to 30% range. So we had a ton of Cincy. We did get a lot of Chicago. We were getting a bit of Cleveland. I'm going to open this one up to chat now. So chat, who should I build? What team would you like me to build next? That is what I want to know. While you're here, if you haven't hit the like button yet, please do so. Don't forget, lock is around 1. Plenty of things to do at Stokastic.com if you're interested. Obviously, baseball is still here. Come on in if you want to. I'm assuming most of you are interested in the NFL. Well, there's an NFL slate tomorrow. We've got NFL shows every day. Clearly, we're crushing Sunday and Monday. If you want to come in, use these sim tools, check out our projections, our ownership, everything we have to offer. You could sign up for the NFL using the links in the description of this video. Not to mention, golf is still here. Sanderson Farms kicking off tomorrow. MMA this Saturday. Massive UFC pay-per-view if that's something you're interested in. And the NBA will be here in 20 days, folks. All right, let's see. Cubs, Pods, Cubs, Boston, Pods, Cubs, Dodgers, Cubs. All right, so pretty clearly it's Cubs and Padres. We'll do them both. Started with the Cubs just because that's what filtered up first. Oh yeah, hockey coming soon too, Po-D-Gen Stoner. Sorry, I don't think about it like that. All right, Nico Herner in, Ian Happ in, Carson Kelly, Dansby Swanson, Kyle Tucker. Leaving Michael Busch out of this. Lowest value option, first base option. I'm hoping that I can spend some additional salary there. Yamamoto, Tanner Bibee, Ohtani, Kike, Teoscar. This feels like too much ownership, but we spent every cent. %15 sim ROI. So I do think that this can be improved very easily. Look, let's say if we're going to go to a 5-man Cubs stack, what happens if we also want Imanaga? Imanaga, Yamamoto, Ohtani, Kike, Teoscar, same lineup, but we save $200 by switching to Imanaga. I don't think this is going to be all that different. Yeah, 27. So Imanaga isn't anything that we need to stress in this spot. Who's the best value option not getting a ton of ownership? Parker Meadows, only at 10%. That's interesting. If I double pay up pitcher, Yamamoto and Cease, can we find enough hitting value? No, we cannot. Oh, why would I put Cease in there? That's insane. No wonder it's not making a fucking lineup. God, I'm stupid. All right, so Rodon, Yamamoto. We're going full aggressive pay up. Still gets us Tommy Edman, Kike, and Freddie Freeman. I actually think this is going to be the best Cubs lineup we've built, but not by a ton. Yeah, 31.8. Well, let's try it on the opposite side then. We've tried the Cubs. What do the San Diego Padres look like? So Freddie Vermin is going straight in because he's 2,300. Bogarts is going in for obvious reasons. Machado is going in. Tatis is clearly going in. And then I think Ryan O'Hearn is the most interesting option here. That leaves us second outfield plus our 2 pitchers. Yamamoto, Cease, Edman, Ohtani, Nate Eaton. It's a lot of ownership. I think we can get away from Yamamoto and maybe make this a 4-man San Diego stack. If I take Yamamoto out, Edman out, Ohtani out, Eaton out. If I wanted to remove one option from San Diego's stack, I think it should probably be Freddie Fermin. So now it's a 4-3-1, still with Yamamoto. Gives us Rortvet, actually, instead of Fermin, Edman, Ohtani, Kafis, who Mohammed just shouted out. I don't think this is going to be any better, but this is just so much ownership, and I feel like that's wildly unnecessary. Yeah, I don't like that at all. At all. Can I spend enough salary if I go cease Rodon? Because that brings ownership down a bit. It brings Fermin back in and gives us Edman, Ohtani, and Parker Meadows. Again, I think I'm going to be in the 30s. Or -7. I'm going to go back to the drawing board and pick out some different San Diego bats. Let's try to be logical here. I don't want to go to Fermin. And I think Ryan O'Hearn just isn't as good of a value at first. Yeah. O'Hearn is the 2, 4, 6th best value option at first base. It's just so much easier to go to Kafis in that spot at like more or less the same ownership. Not that he's good. Okay, I just can't see a scenario where it's not Bogarts. Maybe it's not Machado. Or maybe it's not Tatis, which seems weird. Merrill, Machado, Bogarts. Second base, Luis Arraez. 4-man San Diego. Yamamoto, Cease. And then all one-offs, Meadows, Valera, Ohtani, and Wells. We can get some synergy here a little bit better, I think. Yo, the czar of the single lineup sim is struggling mightily with whatever the hell today's slate is. I'm going to show you guys why, because I think I know the answer. All right, the best catcher I can get to. Highest projection is Ben Rice by 1.2 fantasy points, but he's a much worse value. It feels like Tyler Stevenson is actually the answer, but he's such a poor value. So I'm going to go Austin Wells. And if I go Austin Wells, I'm also going to go... I just don't want Ohtani in this lineup. So I'm going to need to find my 2 other outfielders. But Ohtani's the 5th best point per dollar outfielder right now. Okay, so Tommy Edman is perfect there, just for what we're looking for. Same value, ownership cut in half. I just want to block out Ohtani quickly. But I don't have a Yankee that I can do that with. I'll throw my boy Pajes in there. Cease Bibee. We still get Ohtani. Is like, how much is he lapping the first base pool? 3.5 points over Freddie Freeman. What 2 pitchers is that then? Yamamoto, Bibee. I think this is going to be middle of the pack again. Unfortunately for us, I think I know how to build the goods. That's a -9. Some of these lineups have been atrocious, so I apologize in advance for what has to happen here, but it's about to happen. We're about to build a Dodgers stack. Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, Tommy Edman, and what might be my only way to not... I'm going to try it without Ohtani first, and go to Teoscar. And then I want to see what it looks like when we do take Ohtani. Yamamoto, Cease, Bo Naylor, Stephen Kwan, Parker Meadows. It's a lot of ownership. I'd like to get Cease out of this. Yeah, 16.5. Not bad, but I think we gotta excise Cease. Because Cease is at 37% ownership. I want to see that with Casey Mize. Yamamoto, Mize, Fermin, Judge, Meadows. Let's see if that helps out at all. Barely. 11. So let's fix it the way that we think we need to fix it. Teoscar Hernandez. Actually, Teoscar Hernandez out. Shohei Ohtani in. Yamamoto, Cease, Fermin, Meadows, Kafis. 101 projection is, I think, the highest we've seen. I didn't want it to be this, folks. I really did not. 46% sim ROI, the highest individual lineup that we've built so far, is a 5-man Dodgers stack. Freeman, Edman, Muncy, Betts, Ohtani. One off Fermin, one off Meadows, one off Kafis, Yamamoto, and Cease. Can we improve that, however? Yamamoto stays. Casey Mize. No. Tanner Bibee? Naylor, Kafis, Eaton? Should be an ownership savings. Right knocking on the door, 39%. What if we get very weird? Rodon, Cease. Fermin, Meadows, Valera. Still feels like it's going to be too much ownership. I have one last option here, and that's pulling Tommy Edman, but I think he's still going to show up. Yeah, he does there. If I clear the pitchers, can I get this lineup without Tommy Edman? Not without individually picking my second baseman. Jazz Chisholm with the highest projection. $1,200 more expensive than Tommy Edman. Lesser ownership. Edman, the highest point per dollar play as a value option at second. I'm going to take Nico Herner. And if I do that, I shave ownership. It ends up being Yamamoto, Imanaga, Wells, Meadows, Kafis. I think it's still just going to be too much ownership. Because we've got 76% ownership going to pitching, 48%. Okay. Can we fix pitching ownership? What does Rodon Cease give us? Fermin, Meadows, Valera. Oh, it gave me Edman again because I didn't take him out. So dumb. Dumbest person on the planet. Guys, thank you for being here and hit that like button. Thank you for putting up with my stupidity. Now let's get Rodon and Cease. Legitimately can't do that lineup, huh? All right, so if it can't be Rodon and Cease, then let's make it Bibee and Cease. Bibee and Mize? Wells, Ohtani, TJ Friedel. Too much ownership. This one's coming back down. Ryan Stubbs, thank you. 24% sim ROI going to Bibee and Mize. All right, let's look at the optimal for anybody that's interested today. It is Yamamoto, Cease, 5-man Dodger stack of Freeman, Edman, Kike, Mookie Betts, and Shohei Ohtani. 2-man Cleveland of Bo Naylor and Steven Kwan, and Parker Meadows. This ends up being the optimal lineup generated in the single lineup simulator for today. Obviously not a ton of sim ROI there. It's taking on just an absolute boatload of ownership. If we just take out Bo Naylor, Steven Kwan, and Parker Meadows, along with Yamamoto and Cease, what does 5% randomness do? Yamamoto, Cease, Wells, Kwan, Meadows. How about 10% randomness? Yamamoto, Rodon, Fermin, Carpenter, Meadows. How different does that look just by 10% randomness? See, it could just be that little. You build out that optimal stack. You're like, oh, okay, well, I guess it is the Dodgers. What does it look like if we take something that isn't immediately the optimal? Takes it from single digits up 40 more sim ROI points. What I think we're learning today, unfortunately for us, is that the Dodgers are a bit of a necessity. 26% top stack odds, 10% ahead of everybody else looks great. I don't want to bury the lead, though. They're also the number one value stack at 21%, 7 percentage points ahead of Cleveland for second. That's the problem for the Dodgers today, because even guys like Shohei Ohtani are the best point per dollar plays that exist on today's slate. So get yourself some Dodgers. Try to supplement where you can with San Diego and Chicago. And if you're feeling like you want to take a shot really at the top, extra contrarian, the Cincinnati Reds are probably underowned. All right, guys, there was an NFL show before this. It is up on our YouTube channel and on our podcast feed, so do not miss it. I'm back again tomorrow, folks. We've got one more day of the wild card, so you will get me for that. Good luck on this slate. Obviously, it's going to be stretched from 1 o'clock till late tonight, but I hope you guys have some success. Hit the like button on your way out the door. That would be incredibly helpful for me. Thank you guys for being here. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.